I believe that this country needs to do anything in the future is to spend more time with the children, because they are the future. And you see so many kids that grow up in such awful environments that don't have parents and don't have the guidance, regardless of how you get it, to become productive individuals and to respect each other.
Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show, I got my bro, Paul Black, and we're sitting here at the entrance of Second Chance Youth Ranch at Mike Lassiter Trail. Now, Paul, tell me, don't worry about the camera, look over here at your brother, tell me, why is this trail named Mike Lassiter? What's the relationship there?
The story is that for years we came out and graded the roads for the ranch, Redstone.
And who is Redstone?
And Redstone was owned by Michael and I, and so Michael passed away, and after he passed away I retired. And
but Michael was also a partner and supporter of Second Chance Ranch, not just in doing our roadways, but also financial assistance,
That's correct.
Helping foster children.
That's right. And
So
after I retired, right before I retired, I was looking at the topo of the site, and I saw that you could cut a road.
Topo, our viewers are probably not in aggregate and construction and asphalt roads. So topo is the topography?
The topography of the land,
yeah.
And there was I could cut off most of that drive, which is the worst part of the road out here.
Which is on up that way, about 1.8 miles, coming all the way back, so y'all cut through here.
So we got together with Redstone and Garrett Construction, and then we had some vendors and other donors.
J.A. Riggs.
J.A. Riggs supplied some of the tractors.
What about the aggregate?
The aggregate came from different sources with Arkansas Ag, Granite Mountain Quarry, and Little Rock Quarry.
So basically what we did in honor of Mike Lassiter, Riggs and Garrett, all of our donors, you coordinated all the work, improved our roadway, shortened our road, which these roads are pretty rustic because it's the Old West out here.
Yeah.
And in honor of Michael, we now named our new trail Mike Lassiter Trail. So we're going to go now down into Second Chance Ranch and look at one of the newer projects, actually several new projects that Paul's also been involved in over the past year and a half. And he's my brother, and we're changing the world one heart, one life at a time. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Again, I'm your host, Perry Black, and this is my brother Paul Black, better known as Reed, and
Big brother.
Not big, older brother. This is my older brother. He's like 1.5 years older than me, so you're really a young fella. He's retired because he don't have anything to do but have holidays, but I'm still working, and even though he's retired, he's out here at Second Chance Ranch more than I am. Just finished a pavilion. We're going to talk about that. But before we tell you all that's been going on over the past about 1.5 years here at Second Chance Youth Ranch, I want you to get to know my brother. Some of you may know him, so don't turn the channel. And I just hope the cops aren't watching. You know, they're flipping on that most wanted. You'd be in big trouble right now. My brother Paul, tell us, because a lot of big people maybe know you from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Where'd you go to junior high school?
We went to, all of us went to Annie Camp Junior High
The
School.
old Annie Camp. You know, there's a new Annie Camp now.
I do not know that.
Yeah, beautiful school. It's not new necessarily now, but we went to the old Annie Camp. And somebody else went to, when you went to school, you went in high school too?
Jonesboro High.
And you didn't graduate there?
Nope. We moved to Little Rock in 1966 to the Methodist Children's Home.
Was it 66 or 65? Because I was 14 turning 15. Yeah, I'm right.
I thought
right.
that I turned 16 at the home, but
Methodist Children's Home, that's 20th and Fillmore.
when do you turn? No, never mind.
Mom, you got to watch him. Mom and Dad went through a divorce after 18 years of marriage. Dad, a weekend alcoholic. And so we moved. That was Paul, Perry, Pat, and Pam. Paula was already married. We moved to the Methodist Children's Home. About 110 kids back in those days. That's a nice place to live. That's where we met Dwayne Childers, who's also a supporter of the ranch. He's our foster brother. We just call him our brother. He's the best man in my wedding.
Yeah.
Was he in your wedding?
Which one?
But you guys went in the Army together. You graduated in 68 from Central.
That's correct.
He graduated in 69.
That's right.
I'm highly intelligent. I took the 9th grade twice, so I'm really smart. And I would have graduated in 69, but I graduated Central in 1970. And y'all wouldn't even wait for me to join the Army. You guys joined the Army together.
Well, I was in the process of getting drafted, and I was encouraged to join for a particular school. And since I wanted to own a restaurant, I joined to be a cook to avoid going to Vietnam as an infantry soldier.
And you ended up in Texas.
That is correct, Fort Hood, Texas.
Fort Hood, you spent your whole tour there.
Pretty much.
You were a cook, your flat feet gave in. You ended up being, after you were a cook for years, just like our dad.
I was a data processing clerk for a major data processing. We were doing a test for IBM.
And Dwayne, supply clerk, ended up in Long Binh in Vietnam?
I believe so.
And I ended up in Fort Sill a little bit later. I joined for 2, you guys joined for 3. And I actually got out of the Army before y'all, but I was a supply clerk. They taught me how to type in the Army. Boy, I'm a whiz. And I come down, I asked a 1049 to Germany. I come down on levee for Vietnam. I leave Little Rock, en route to Vietnam. I get diverted to Germany. And of course, some years, a year and a half later, I go back to Germany. I get out of the military December 31st, 71, go back to Germany. That's where I got born again. So God had his hand in all that. But you graduated Central High School. Did you go to college? I know you did because we shared a house together in Jonesboro. Was it on Word Street?
It was on Word Street.
Isn't that appropriate? I live on Word Street. Now, I was an atheist at the time, but you and Dwayne got out. I got out December 31st. Y'all got out, y'all ETS'd?
We got out in March of 72.
Yeah.
And all of us wound up living together on Word Street. And then I was going to go back to Austin, Texas, and I was going to go to UT after a year and a half at Jonesboro, and wound up leaving there after 6 months and came back to Little Rock.
But you were in investment banking or something back then.
That was later on.
Yeah, okay.
And so went back to college at ULR. I was majoring in environmental science and history. I was going to be an environmental lawyer. Me being the genius I am, dropped out of college my senior year to open up a bar. And
the name of that bar, it still exists. I hate to advertise for it, but it's called the Whitewater Tavern.
The Whitewater Tavern.
At the Capitol, down by the Capitol.
Alleged association with a Clinton project.
Now, everybody watching right now is saying, your brother owned a bar and he's on Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. You're probably wondering the same thing. But we're sitting right here at the ranch, and the ranch, we started receiving children December of 2005. But you and I, right up at the top of the hill, met out here, and Lando Patton, who you worked for back then, y'all cleared the original spot for the hotel, the bank building, the 2 staff houses in 2000, 21 years ago. So this is why we're here today, because a lot of people don't understand what is Second Chance Youth Ranch and who's involved. Just this week, last 2 days, we had a Baptist church out here. A group of teenagers spent 2 nights. They put in some hammocks. They did some weed eating. They swam in the new swimming pool. They enjoyed the new pavilion. And they just did a project. So there's something for everybody to do. You've been a part of this ministry to foster children for 21 years, since you could hear and you could see. Isn't that amazing?
Pretty amazing, pretty amazing. It's amazing to see the growth of the whole operation.
And what we're going to do some B-roll throughout this show and show people some of the things that Redstone and Riggs and Garrett and Greg Covey and all the other guys that we're going to give some creds to here in a little bit, because that's what makes this program, this ministry unique, is it don't matter what your walk of life is, we want to change the lives of hurting kids. And why are you and I involved, working together, changing the lives of hurting kids? We lived at the Methodist home for about 3 years, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Nice place to live. At that point, nicest house either of us had ever lived in. We even had air conditioning. That was awesome.
Brick house with air conditioning.
Yeah.
And during that period of time, I know you transitioned to it much easier than I did. I never really, after living our lifestyle in Jonesboro, having 2 or 3 paper routes and having motorcycles and all the freedom we had,
yeah.
For me, 16 years old, moving to the home, it was a beautiful place with all the great facilities.
Having to ask permission.
Losing my freedom, having to cut my hair, no motorcycles.
That was rough.
It was tough. And so I know I feel what these kids feel,
yeah.
And I know what that impact is, and that's my whole thing. I believe if this country needs to do anything in the future is to spend more time with the children, because they are the future. And you see so many kids that grow up in such awful environments that don't have parents and don't have the guidance, regardless of how you get it, to become productive individuals and to respect each other.
So what you're saying is every child needs an opportunity, they need a mentor, an example to follow, and if nothing else, someone to love them and tell them how important they are.
That is correct.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with my brother Paul Black.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. If you're just joining us, this is my brother Paul. And Paul, what we're doing in this segment is we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing out here since Thanksgiving weekend of 2019. Now, I want to emphasize again what we have and will discuss in the show. We broke ground out here in 2000. You and your crew cleared the top of the hill up there.
Right.
And now we're down at the bottom of the hill. Thanksgiving weekend, on that Friday, I met you out here and we staked out our new recreation center, which is right off camera here.
Right.
And we finished that in about May, debt-free, totally paid for. You helped me lay it out, stake it out, and then we dug it and poured concrete and all that. And as we were doing that, weather allowed, you also helped coordinate our new in-ground swimming pool, and that is the hit. They'd rather see the swimming pool than me or you.
I don't doubt that.
They love the swimming pool, and that's a huge addition. And we just want to thank everybody that's been a part of that. Of course, then I think it was Guyer Springs Baptist helped us put in a new playground. Some volunteers did that as well. And now, just in the last couple of weeks, you came out here. I had the dream of a little pavilion, maybe 12 by 14, a little place, a little fire pit. You came out here and with your crew and your volunteers built this brand new, beautiful pavilion, and this is going to be an awesome addition to what we're doing out here.
Well, you, as in me, didn't do a whole lot. I had contacted some of my former project managers and estimators at Redstone, and one of the guys was excited about wanting to even come out here. And so when I called Kurt Kosei up, he talked with Dewey, and Dewey and his brother were the biggest part of putting this thing together.
So what you do, unlike me, I just tell people the opportunities. You're a little more aggressive than that. You call them up and say, I need your help.
Well, yeah, you know.
And I was talking to Grant Garrett, and he said, I know you, Perry, because of Paul. And I said, well, how do you know Paul? He said, well, Paul, through the construction industry, road and excavating, said, Grant, we need to get that road out there for those kids at Second Chance Ranch. And he came out here, fell in love with us, this place, and our kids, and is now partners with us. So let's give some credit out here to some of the guys that helped build this pavilion, because everybody pitching in a little bit makes a world of difference in the lives of kids,
huge.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, and then having, I think for a company to use this as a kind of a center point of their commitment to the community is a large part and is important to a company. I know Grant is big in that, and I know Redstone has helped on many projects out here, so I hope that that'll go forward.
So let's look at some of these guys. Julio Luna helped do our stairway up to the pavilion. Greg Covey did dirt work. He also did our dirt work around our swimming pool last year. Razorback Concrete, Dewey Oxley, Redstone Construction Group, where you were part owner with Michael, and it's continuing to go. And that's with Nader. How you say his last name?
Nader Abu Diab.
And Andrew Boyd, Jeremy Hendricks, Troy Robertson, T-Roy. Paul said he has a nickname for all these guys, but you can't say those on air. Kurt Cobain. Nickname Dewey Oxley. Tony Oxley, the man, Frankie Webb Franco, Philip Ray P. Ray, Andy Rose, Rosewood, Kurt's dad, Dwayne and Sarah Childers. Now again, Dwayne was our foster brother. He's part of our family. Now he's our brother. Dwayne and Sarah Childers, both of them Central High School graduates, and a lot of other people. You know, I always tell the story, our viewers have probably heard of the 83-year-old lady in Heber Springs would send me $1 bill every month. I'd send her a letter and a newsletter. She'd send me $1 with a handwritten letter. And those dollars, you don't think about it, but just those individual dollars meant so much. $1 didn't build the pavilion, but it's $1 at a time. Faith with blisters, hardworking brothers who are not embarrassed to say, I need you to help these kids, and we need you to help too. So as we're getting ready to move into our next segment, why, you got 1 minute, why are you helping me and our partners and staff, Billy and Rachel, to help foster children? Why is that important?
Because it's helping the kids. Like I stated a while ago, is the children getting some kind of help to transition into life and to be something other than just trash in the
Castaway.
It's terrible what's happening with some of the inner city stuff and fatherless children and broken families, and more that's happening. And just being part of it's children. It's all about the kids. With me, it is nothing but about the kids. And that's the bottom line.
And you and I and our brother Pat and Pam lived at the Methodist home for about 3 years. We know the trauma that these kids have gone through when they're separated from their family and having to readjust. So we're going to take a brief break here in just a moment. And I want you to prayerfully consider, as we prepare to close the show, how you can be more involved, or your church or your business can be involved in changing hearts and lives one at a time.
My name is Faith. My name is Jaden. My name is Hayden. I'm 8 and he's 4. 5. My favorite movie is Shopkins. And Spider-Man. The new Moana. Moana's a good show. My favorite color is the rainbow. Green. My favorite color is blue.
I want you to tell me one thing you love about each of your siblings?
She gives me water when I drink Easter cups. And we love Jaden because we don't want him to come in the glass one. We like to play outside together. If I wear my Paw Patrol shoes, they make me faster.
What do you want people to know about you?
I want to be a police. I love Batman. I am kind.
Smile.
He's a coward!
Hey, welcome back. I know that you're watching this show and these segments as we visited Second Chance Ranch tonight, and you've had a chance to look around and see what God is doing. I want to go back to what Paul was talking about in our first segment together. Paul, you had mentioned when we had all the freedoms when we lived at Jonesboro. We had, at one time with our motorcycles, first time we shared one, because I wasn't old enough to own one. And I got pulled over on my morning paper route, the Memphis Commercial Appeal, and I wasn't old enough to ride my motorcycle. But I had 2 morning paper routes, then I had a Jonesboro Sun bicycle route for a period of time. I mentioned how smart I was. I took the 9th grade twice because I had 3 paper routes, 2 before school, 1 after school, played football, ran track, and failed. Because I didn't even go to school enough. You know, the joke around the house was when I walk in the counselor's office, I'd say, well, Perry, where were you yesterday? I said, well, my camo had a flat. Couldn't make it. But you barely had enough days at Jonesboro High School in the 10th grade. You made it somehow. But then Mom and Dad divorced.
I made it because in that period of time, I was growing long hair and I was kicked out of school 8 times. And so,
because back then, if you had hair on your ears or on your collar, they would send you home.
That's right. Well, I would wear dippity-doo,
the Beatles,
so I looked like a greaser.
The Rolling Stones.
That's right.
Sonny and Cher.
And
Joni Mitchell. All of them. The hippie movement was starting.
That's right.
Peace. And
so
you were in all that?
They couldn't. No, not really. So they couldn't fail you for being kicked out. If you just missed school, would be one thing, but if they couldn't fail you for missing too many days, if they were because you were excelled.
But you weren't necessarily being obnoxious and misbehaving.
No, I just had long hair. The principal would come to whatever class I would be in ever so often and go, Paul, come to my office. So
you think
take me to my office and say, all right.
Have schools changed since then?
I think they may.
Long hair is the least of their issues now in our school system.
That's correct.
But Mom and Dad divorced. We moved to the Methodist Children's Home. It was a pretty big adjustment. Mom was in Cottage 2 with little children.
That's correct.
Pam was in Cottage 9 behind chapel with girls. You and I were in Cottage 8 with Dwayne. Pat was in Cottage 6. Paula had already gotten married. And it was an adjustment. Probably, like you said earlier, you had a little more difficult time. I know Pat had some difficulties adjusting because he's very quiet. He's not like you or me.
That's right.
He's more introverted like Dad. And Pam was very young back then. I don't know, maybe 10. I was 14, so she'd have been 11.
10 or 11.
So what was the adjustment? Because a lot of people don't think about the adjustments of kids coming into care. They're taken out of the home in the middle of the night.
I mean, it's just tough. When part of the deal, when we got on the school bus to go to school and the kids joked about it, you know what, none of us were orphans.
Yeah.
None of them were orphans. And there were a couple, but most of them, we all joked about the orphans getting off the bus at school. It just affects your state of mind and part of your confidence.
We had motorcycles. We were out every morning early before a lot of people
We were on our
got
own, totally independent.
At
Mom worked. We provided our own clothes, and
Mom even worked night shift at GE.
That's right.
And
later on,
3:30 in the morning, we had paper routes, and Yeah, that's just the way we lived our life. We had a lot of freedoms that a lot of young
That's
people
right.
didn't have.
But we learned, you know, one thing about a paper route is you learn how to market. You learn getting up and going, you're going to make money.
Yeah, manage your money, pay your
You
bills.
learn to manage your money. You also understand buying your own clothes and paying for your motorcycles. And,
Which is
and the repairs.
one of the things we do here at Second Chance Ranch is we teach young people life skills. So as they grow, they get a job, a car, a place to live as they grow out of care.
That's what I would tell
And that's what we learned.
That's what I would tell my friends, is that with the home, even though our mother worked there and to keep our family together, none of us there were really taught how to transition from being a child and going on to college and getting a better education, going and getting your car, even though we had already started buying our cars, and because we were working part-time too while we went to school, but still you don't really know how to transition into a productive lifestyle. And
that is what the ranch
saving money. I mean, just that part of saving money. And even though we had that background with our paper routes and everything, still there was that missing link, you know, and part of our link was to get out of the home, was to go into the military.
Yeah.
And
several did that. Ralph Hardin, who was killed in Vietnam, did that. Dwayne, you, me, I think Jerry David did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that was our escape, and that was a way we could make a transition. We were fortunate enough in some ways. I jokingly, tongue-in-cheek say, what our dad did for us was nothing. But what we learned, because he didn't provide the way he could have or maybe should have, we learned that if we're going to be anything in life, we couldn't live with our hand out.
That's right.
We had to get up, go to work, and make it happen. We've got 1 minute. Paul, why would
you know, with Dad, he did teach us how to garden. He taught us how to take care of animals.
Sure did that.
He worked us like dogs, and we learned how to live off the land, literally.
Raise calves, raise
also,
hogs.
I tell people that, you know, my dad taught me how not to be as a father.
Yeah.
I have 2 stepchildren, and I've done my best to raise them.
Yeah.
And
one thing he taught us, Dad worked hard when he worked.
Yes, he did.
And we raised hogs and calves and picked strawberries, blackberries, and ticks and chickens, didn't we? So the reason Second Chance Ranch exists is to make a life-changing difference in the hearts of young people who have lived through the trauma and the difficulties of foster care. You made it and I made it, and I promise you, together we will make it happen for young people right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here at Victory Television Network. Bye-bye.